All right, so today we're going to look at something you might not think about a lot, but it's super important to oil and gas.
Yeah.
The global market for sand control systems.
Okay.
Now, it's sand control.
Yeah.
It doesn't exactly sound like the most thrilling topic,
Yeah.
but it's a huge market. Multi-billion-dollar.
Absolutely.
Really interesting trends to dig into.
For sure.
And to help me do that,
Yes.
I've got an expert with me.
Hello.
You ready to dive in?
I'm ready.
All right, so sand control systems.
Yeah.
For those of us who
Sure.
don't live and breathe oil and gas.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we even talking about?
So basically, think about it this way.
Okay.
You've got these oil and gas wells drilled deep into the earth, and the formations they're going into aren't just pure oil and gas.
Of course.
They've got rock, sand,
right.
all mixed in.
Makes sense.
And that sand can cause a whole bunch of problems. Okay.
If it starts coming up the well with oil and gas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you can get
Interesting.
damaged equipment, reduced production.
Okay.
It can even shut a whole well down.
Wow. So these systems are really crucial.
Absolutely vital.
Okay, so to really understand this market,
Mm-hmm.
we've got a 2025 market report
Right.
on global sand control systems.
Good stuff.
And that's going to be our main source today.
Perfect.
So the mission is to go through this report,
Yep.
pull out the most important stuff,
Okay.
key trends,
Mm-hmm.
where the action is geographically.
And what the future might hold.
Love it.
Really give everyone listening a clear picture of this market.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this report seems pretty in-depth.
It is.
It looks at where the market is now
Yes.
and makes predictions about where it's going.
That's right.
And that's what we want to explore today.
Perfect.
Okay, so let's start big picture.
Okay.
How big is this market right now?
Right now, in 2025, the global sand control systems market projected to be worth $520 million US dollars.
300 and 520 million.
That's right.
So that's
It's a really pretty substantial market.
not small potatoes.
No, not at all.
And what's the growth look like?
Well, the really interesting thing is the anticipated expansion by 2033,
Okay.
it's forecast to hit 600 and 139.05 million US dollars.
Wow. Okay, so more than doubling
Essentially, yeah.
in less than 10 years.
Less than 10 years, yeah.
That's
a rapid pace of growth.
So that's the percentage.
We're looking at a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR,
Okay.
of 7.2%.
Between 2025 and 2033.
That's correct.
Okay, so this isn't just,
Right.
some pie in the sky number.
No,
The report's using data,
exactly.
looking back.
Yeah, it uses 2024 as its base year
Okay.
and looks at historical data from 2021 to 2024.
To make these projections?
Precisely.
Okay, so it's grounded
It is.
in actual market activity.
Yes.
Okay, so 7% growth
It's impressive.
every year for almost 10 years.
Yeah, and
Live there.
when you think about
Yeah.
global energy demand, it kind of makes sense.
Right.
The world relies on oil and gas.
Yeah.
That reliance isn't going away anytime soon.
Right.
So the need for technologies that make sure we can get those resources out
Mhm.
efficiently, sustainably,
Of course.
it's only going to increase.
Makes sense.
So this growth really reflects that.
Okay, so let's break it down geographically.
Okay.
Where are the hot spots?
The current leader
Okay.
is North America.
North America.
Yeah. They've got the biggest slice of the pie.
Okay.
Over 40% of the global market revenue.
Wow, 40%.
Yep. And in 2025,
Mm-hmm.
the market size there
Okay.
estimated at $1,302.40 million US dollars.
They're from 22.40.
Mm-hmm.
And what about their growth going forward?
They've got a projected CAGR of 5.7%.
From 2025 to 2033.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
just think about North America.
Mm.
Lots of oil and gas production.
Absolutely.
In the U.S.,
Of course.
Canada.
Yeah, major players.
Does the report give more detail within North America?
Yeah, it breaks it down further.
Okay.
So within North America,
Mm-hmm.
the U.S. is really the dominant force.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Right.
Their 2025 market size,
Okay.
estimated at $127.59 million US dollars.
So the lion's share of that 1,300 million
Yeah, pretty much.
in their CGR.
5.5%.
Okay, so
Still.
healthy growth.
Yeah.
What's driving that in the U.S.?
The report points to
That's right.
technological advancements.
Okay, so
They're really pushing the boundaries
Mhm.
of what's possible.
in Canada.
Canada's coming in with a market size of 156.29 million US dollars.
Okay.
And a CAGR of 6.5%.
Okay, so even a bit higher.
Higher than the US.
Yeah, and their growth is fueled by a couple things.
Yeah.
Increasing industrialization, urbanization, which obviously drives energy consumption.
Exactly.
Got it. And what about Mexico?
Mexico's contributing as well.
Okay.
With a market size of 118.52 million US dollars.
Okay.
And a CAGR of 6.2%.
All right, so altogether, North America is the leader.
For now.
Okay, but what about Europe?
Europe is number 2.
Oh.
They've got the second largest market share, accounting for over 30% of global revenue.
Okay, so a little less than North America.
A bit less, yeah.
But still a major player.
Absolutely.
What's their market size look like?
In 2025,
it's
estimated at $120.80 million US dollars.
Okay, so about a third.
Yeah, roughly.
Of the global market.
That's right.
And their CAGR.
Projected at 6.2%.
So similar to North America.
In that ballpark, yeah.
Now Europe.
Right.
It's got a really diverse energy landscape.
It does.
Different countries, different mixes.
Absolutely.
So within Europe, any particular countries that are standing out?
Definitely. The UK's doing really well.
Oh, yeah.
Market size of 171.49 million US dollars.
Okay.
And a strong CAGR of 7%.
Wow, so even higher.
Yeah, they're seeing an upswing.
Than the overall European market.
And again, part of that's driven by technological advancements.
Okay, so we're seeing that as a trend.
It's a definite trend.
In regions that are doing well.
In the sand control market.
Okay, what about other countries in Europe?
Germany's another big one.
Okay.
202.12 million US dollars. And a CAGR of 6.4%.
So driven by
their energy demand.
Yeah.
They're a big energy consumer.
And other notable players.
France, Russia, Italy, Spain.
Right.
They all have significant markets.
Okay.
But maybe with slightly lower growth rates.
Than the UK and Germany.
Yeah, but what's interesting is even some of the smaller European markets, like Sweden, Luxembourg, they're showing really healthy growth rates too.
So it's not just the big players.
It's not just about size.
In Europe, it's kind of across the board.
Yeah, there's this kind of widespread activity.
It's almost surprising.
Right.
Because you think of, some of these regions in Europe.
Yeah.
Maybe not as...
Not necessarily.
The first places that come to mind.
Right.
When you think about...
Oil and gas.
Oil and gas.
But it highlights that even in regions where domestic production might be declining, there's still a need to maintain existing wells. Maybe explore new resources, more challenging resources.
So it's not just about new production. It's also about keeping things going.
Exactly.
In places where...
Keeping the lights on.
Maybe production has peaked. Okay, so that's Europe.
That's Europe.
Now let's shift gears
to
a region. That seems to be the future for a lot of industries. Asia Pacific.
APAC. What's happening there?
Okay, so APAC currently holds about 23% of the global market share.
Okay.
And their market size in 2025 is estimated at $844.8 billion US dollars.
Okay, so a bit smaller.
Than North America or Europe.
Right.
But the exciting thing is their projected growth, their CAGR from 2025 to 2033 is 9.9%.
9.9%.
Almost double digits.
So that's way higher.
Yeah, significantly higher.
Than any other region we've talked about.
That's right.
So what's driving that incredible growth?
So a couple of major factors.
Okay.
First, you've got China.
Of course.
They're a powerhouse.
Right.
Their market size in 2025 is $354.82 million US dollars.
Okay.
And their CAGR is 9.4%.
So really strong growth.
Yeah, and that's linked to their focus on energy security.
Yeah.
They want to maximize their domestic production.
Exactly.
And then there's India.
Okay.
Another key growth market. They've actually got the highest CAGR in the region.
Wow. Okay, what is it?
11.8%.
Wow. So more than 10% growth.
Every year.
Every year.
For almost a decade.
Almost a decade.
It's incredible.
That's amazing. And their market size?
84.48 million US dollars.
Okay, so why?
Why such a huge growth rate?
Yeah.
It's largely due to their investments.
Okay.
In deep water and ultra deep water projects.
So these are
the more complex projects, more challenging environments.
Yeah.
And they need more advanced sand control solutions.
Because of the conditions.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's not just that
No.
they're producing more oil and gas.
No.
It's that they're having to go to these
They're pushing the boundaries.
more and more extreme places to
And that requires more sophisticated technologies.
And any other notable players in APAC?
Yeah, you've got Japan, South Korea, Australia, and the Southeast Asian nations.
Okay, so really it's kind of a regional trend.
Yeah, it's a regional phenomenon.
So we're seeing this huge demand from these rapidly developing economies in Asia.
Yeah, and it's not just about meeting current needs. It's about future security, accessing more challenging reserves.
Okay, so
they're thinking long-term.
APAC is a region to watch.
Definitely.
Now let's move on to South America.
South America.
What's the market like there?
They account for more than 5% of the global market share.
Okay.
And their market size in 2025 projected to be $133.76 million US.
133.76.
Yeah.
So significantly smaller.
Smaller than the reasons we've talked about so far.
Right, but still notable.
A decent chunk.
Yeah.
And what about their growth?
They've got a projected CAGR 7.9%.
Okay.
So pretty healthy.
Pretty good. Anyone leading the way in South America?
Brazil is the biggest market in the region.
Brazil.
Yeah. They've got $57.25 million US.
In 2025?
Yes.
And they're 10 at KGR?
8.5%.
Okay, so a little higher.
Yeah. And their growth is being supported by increased investment in research and development.
So they're really investing in their...
Yeah, in their oil and gas sector.
Okay. Any other notable countries?
Argentina's got a market size of $22.47 million US.
Okay.
And an 8.8% CAGR.
Wow. So even higher than Brazil.
Yeah, and they're benefiting from supportive government policies.
Okay, so that's helping.
Yeah, it's definitely a factor.
To drive growth.
Absolutely.
And any other players in South America?
Colombia, Peru, Chile.
So kind of spread across.
Yeah, they're all contributing to the overall market.
Okay, so
steady growth in South America.
Driven by existing reserves. Ongoing production.
Yeah. And just that overall global demand.
Okay, now what about the Middle East?
Okay, so the Middle East holds a market share of around 2%.
Okay.
Their market size in 2025 is estimated at $140.80 million US.
Okay.
And their CAGR projected at 8.5%.
Okay, so 2% market share.
It seems a bit low.
Right, you think about
when you consider their oil production.
Yeah, they're giants.
It's a little surprising.
So why might that be?
So one possibility is that a lot of their easy-to-access fields already have sand control measures in place.
Okay, so they've already
tackled the low-hanging fruit.
Taking care of the basics.
Exactly. Okay. But now, as they look to maximize recovery from existing fields and explore more complex reservoirs, that's where we're seeing a growing demand for these more advanced systems.
So they're having to up their game.
Yeah, they need to step up their sand control game.
To stay ahead?
Yeah, to keep that oil flowing.
Okay. Any particular countries driving this in the Middle East?
Saudi Arabia.
Of course.
And the UAE.
Okay.
They're the biggest markets in the region.
Makes sense.
But, interestingly, Turkey is also showing strong growth.
Turkey?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and that's driven by increased government investments in their energy sector.
Makes sense.
And the report also mentions Qatar.
Qatar?
Yeah. They're experiencing growth.
Interesting.
Partly due to their focus on renewable energy adoption.
Oh, that's...
Now, that might seem...
counterintuitive.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right.
Because you think
renewables
are the future and moving away from oil and gas.
But it could be.
But it could suggest that they're trying to optimize their existing oil and gas assets.
Right.
In the short term.
Yeah.
While they transition to renewables.
Okay, so they're not...
Yeah, they're not abandoning oil and gas.
Right.
They're
making sure they can...
They're squeezing every last drop.
Get the most out of what they've got.
While they build up their renewables.
While they're transitioning.
Exactly.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it shows how complex this all is.
Yeah, you think of things as separate. But they're all
But it's all interconnected.
Interconnected.
Yeah, one decision can have ripple effects.
Across the board.
Absolutely.
Okay, so finally, let's talk about Africa.
Africa. What's going on there?
They currently hold around 1% of the global market share.
Okay, so smallest we've talked about.
Smallest so far.
Yeah.
But there's still growth.
Yeah.
Their market size in 2025 is estimated at $77.44 million US dollars.
Okay, and the CAGR?
7.5%.
So even though it's small,
yeah,
it's still growing.
Still growing at a decent pace.
Any major players in Africa?
South Africa is the largest market.
South Africa? Followed by Nigeria. Nigeria.
And then
the rest of Africa.
Kind of collectively.
Yeah, they make up a significant portion.
Okay, and anything interesting happening in Africa?
Yeah, the report mentions that increasing government initiatives are supporting growth in composite sales.
Now, composite sales.
These are often used in sand control applications, particularly in Nigeria.
Okay.
So it's good to see government supporting this sector.
Because it's obviously so important for their energy production.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's the regional breakdown. Now let's dig a little deeper into the different techniques used for sand control.
The different approaches.
Yeah, so what are the main ones?
So the report highlights several. The dominant method.
Yeah.
And also one of the fastest growing segments.
Interesting, okay.
Is gravel packing.
Gravel packing. What is that?
So imagine you've got a well bore right down into the formation, and at the level where the oil and gas is coming from, you place a specialized screen.
Oh, okay. A screen?
Yeah, like a filter. And then the space between that screen and the surrounding rock. You fill that with gravel.
Okay.
Carefully sized gravel.
So it's not
just any old gravel. It's got to be the right size.
to do the job.
Exactly.
Okay, and what does the gravel do?
So the gravel acts as a filter.
Okay.
It lets the oil and gas through.
Right.
But it stops those tiny sand particles from getting into the well.
And those are the ones
Those are the troublemakers.
that cause all the problems.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's like
a big sieve.
A big sieve.
Yes.
For the well.
Okay, so that's gravel packing.
That's gravel packing.
And it's the most common.
And it's growing.
Yeah.
Because as we demand more oil and gas, we're pushing production into more challenging places, more extreme environments.
Exactly. And that's where gravel packing really shines.
Okay, makes sense.
It's robust. It's reliable.
And what about other techniques?
So another one is standalone screens.
Okay, so kind of similar concept?
Similar, but a bit simpler.
Okay.
These are essentially specialized filters placed in the wellbore.
To block sand.
Yeah, but they don't have that gravel component.
Okay, so it's just the screen itself.
Exactly.
Okay, what else?
Then there's resin-coated gravel.
Resin-coated gravel.
This is a really interesting one, and it's actually the fastest growing segment overall.
Oh, wow. Okay, so why is that?
So it takes the basic idea of gravel packing, but it adds another layer.
Okay.
So instead of just sized gravel, each piece of gravel is coated with resin.
With resin?
Yeah, special resin.
Okay, and what does that do?
That resin helps bind the sand together.
Okay.
In the formation itself.
So it's not just filtering.
It's like adding glue.
It's reinforcing.
Reinforcing the formation.
Wow.
So you get a more stable, permeable barrier.
So it's really effective.
Like a double whammy.
Yeah, it's a 2-for-1.
It filters and it reinforces.
Exactly.
Okay, and where is this particularly useful?
So it's great for formations that are prone to disintegration.
Okay, so really loose?
Yeah, really loose.
Unstable.
Unstable, yeah.
So it's kind of like...
It's like holding the formation together while also keeping the sand out of the well.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a clever solution.
And any other techniques we should know about?
There's plastic consolidation,
which
is used in certain situations. And then there's a category for others.
So just kind of...
Yeah, a catch-all for...
The less common methods?
The more niche techniques.
Okay, so it seems like...
Yeah, it seems like...
Resin-coated gravel. It's becoming more and more popular.
It's gaining traction because it's so effective.
Especially in these more challenging environments.
Okay, so besides the techniques themselves, how else can we break down this market?
Well, we can look at where these sand control systems are being used.
Okay, so the application.
Exactly. So the report looks at that, and it breaks it down into offshore and onshore.
So where are they mostly being used?
The offshore segment currently holds the largest share.
Offshore.
Yeah, and that's because more and more exploration and production is happening in deep water, ultra deep water.
Right. So
those environments are challenging.
Yeah.
They often have high pressures, unconsolidated formations.
Right.
They're just more prone to sand production problems.
Okay, so that's where you really need...
You need those robust solutions to keep things running smoothly.
So offshore is the leader. Expert speaker.